Welcome back to the memes. I've created an all-star team for each position in the NBA. Point guards, shooting guards, small forwards, power forwards, and centers. And in this video, I want to run some experiments to determine which team is the best position in basketball. To do this, we will have a full season simulation, and then we will finish off with a winner-take-all tournament. But before we get into the chaos, I need to let you know about today's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform to create a beautiful website and run your business. Squarespace has a variety of quality templates and presets to choose from, so you can set up the website that's right for you, your business, or whatever you want to make a website for. It's quick and it's easy to use as well. I was able to create a website for the greatest players in my channel's history in a matter of minutes. Thanks to Squarespace, I can have threaded comments, replies, and likes, so we as a community can come together and debate which players deserve to be the best. And with built-in analytics, I can track the data and find the results as well. Squarespace has been sponsoring my channel for many years. I can't thank them enough. Build your website today by going to squarespace.com/nottheexpert for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Once again, go to squarespace.com/nottheexpert where you're going to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thanks again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. The Mavericks are representing the point guards. The Suns will be for the shooting guards, Lakers for the small forwards, Bucks for the power forwards, and the centers will be represented by the Nuggets. Teams are self-explanatory. If you were listed at a point guard and you're one of the highest rated at the point guard position, then you're on the point guard team. This goes for every position. And I know some of these can be confusing because a lot of these players are flexible in their position in real life, but whatever their primary position is in this video game, that's what they're going to be listed as on their team. So looking at the team overalls, the point guards are the most skilled on paper in terms of their attributes. The team overall for the point guards comes out to 95. Below them, you have the small forwards and centers at the next highest at 93. Power forwards have a 92 overall, and the shooting guards, they're the lowest overall at 91. A lot of these overalls can be a little bit misleading though, because each position has a clear weakness that can be exposed by the other teams. For example, even though the point guards are the highest rated on paper, their lack of height will be challenged by the skyscrapers that are the centers and the power forwards. And if the shooting guards were to make a run in this tournament, they would need to drain threes, as getting to the basket against the Giants all the time, that'd be challenging, and rebounding for them, it just seems hopeless. For the forwards, they seem to be the most balanced and versatile, so I'm curious to see how they turn out in this tournament. So the preseason power rankings, this like my NBA guy believes that the height is the key to victory, as the centers are listed as the #1 team here. Power forwards at 2, small forwards at 3, point guards at 4, and the shooting guards are at 5. Now once we skip ahead to the end of the season, this simulation, it just straight up yielded some shocking results. Jokic grabbed MVP with an insane stat line of 32.5 points per game, 11.5 rebounds per game, and 14.5 assists per game, averaging a triple-double, and he's not the only one. LeBron got Defensive Player of the Year, also averaging a triple-double, 26.4 points per game, 13.5 rebounds, and 10.9 assists per game. And there's two more players that average a triple-double in this simulation, Doncic and Sabonis. There's more insane stat lines that I'll run down in a minute, but looking at the team records, these did not go as anticipated either. As you can see, the teams finished with some incredible records all near the top of the league. That's not really surprising with how much talent was stacked on each team, but what is surprising is the shooting guards actually were at 6th place. And if you're good at counting, there's only 5 positions in this tournament, so that means they goofed up. They're behind one of the regular teams here. They finished behind the Bulls, which is not one of the position teams. This team had Lonzo Ball, Clint Capella, and Bobby Portis, but I guess because of their balance, they were better than the shooting guards. While the shooting guards finished 53 and 29, not a bad year by any stretch of the imagination, but it is surprising that the team, as loaded as they are, could not beat one of the mid-range teams. I mean, you're like 91 overall as a team. You'd think you'd be able to figure out, but they couldn't do it, at least to not get above the Bulls here. The small forwards had the best regular season record here at 74-8, just ridiculous. Centers were 1 game behind them at 73-9. The point guards and the power forwards, they both finished 69-13. The point guards, they did average the most points per game in the league though, at 135.5 points per game, so I guess that high overall does prove to be valuable in that respect. Looking at more statistics, this is going to sound hilarious, but Jokic and Embiid were the best guard combo in the entire league, and it really wasn't close. That's a terrifying combo to think about. 2 7-footers just balling out at the guard positions. And when you look at Doncic, being one of the taller point guards on his team, he was able to get the most rebounds in the entire league at 14.2 rebounds per game. Skipping ahead to the playoffs, we actually had ourselves kind of like a natural tournament here of the positions. The point guards faced off the shooting guards in the quarterfinals, but the point guards dominated the shooting guards 4-1. The centers and power forwards had a 7-game series in the semifinals, but the centers prevail and they move on to the finals. The small forwards ended up sweeping the point guards in the semifinals. So the finals matchup is the small forwards versus the centers. And shockingly, the small forwards handled the centers with ease, winning the series 4-1. The small forwards nearly swept every team they went up against. So the small forwards are the king of the background simulation. But what about the chaos of these live game simulations? Anything could happen here. So I set up this single elimination tournament bracket. It's a little goofy with 5 teams. It doesn't really work out anyway. But I've got the guards playing against each other and the forwards playing against each other. So point guards versus shooting guards and small forwards versus power forwards. And the centers get it by because there's not a team to pair with them. So game 1, point guards versus shooting guards. This game was back and forth at the beginning. Luka's height and rebounding ability seemed to be the key advantage for the point guards. And the shooting guards defense was pretty terrible, just making it way too easy for the point guards to score. Point guards just had better playmaking and offensive creativity. And not to mention that Kyrie was just throwing up bricks all game for the shooting guards, definitely shooting his team in the foot. In the end, Luka dominated. The point guards blew out the shooting guards 46-32. Game 2, we have the small forwards versus the power forwards. Now this game really surprised me. I fully expected the small forwards to come out here and just blow out the power forwards, especially after they were so dominant in the season simulation. But the power forwards, they really held their own, and they used their height to their advantage. The highlight of the game was KD absolutely posterizing LeBron here in the second quarter, but by the end of the game, it was clear the power forwards came to play. The small forwards struggled to score against the power forwards. Spectacular defense, and we have ourselves another blowout, 47-32. Game 3, in the semifinals, we have the power forwards versus the centers. And this is a good matchup because we get to see height versus height. It was a tight and low-scoring affair. It was a mix of tough defense and bad shooting. It does appear by the end of the first half that the power forwards are more dynamic offensively. But in the third, the centers clawed their way back to tie it at 23. Unsurprisingly, the passing in this game has been horrid for both teams, and that seems to be a major weakness on both sides. It has led to a plethora of turnovers in this game. The centers took the lead 27-26 with just 3 minutes left, and Jokic carried his team. The centers defense was strong, and they came up clutch when it mattered most late in the game to win it 35-28. They're moving on to the finals once again. The finals, here we are. David versus Goliath, the point guards versus the centers. And the centers, I mean, they're intimidating. They're massive compared to the point guards. Honestly, for the point guards to win this game and upset the centers, they would have to shoot lights out. But in the first half, they were just cold shooting from everywhere. The centers were smart. They used their height. They pounded the ball inside. A lot of points in the post. And by the end, this was the biggest blowout of them all. Not even remotely close. 61-24. That height was just way too powerful. It was like a third grader going up against an NBA player. That's what I would equate it to. So the centers, they win this single elimination tournament, but I'm still not satisfied. And with the small forwards being so dominant in the season simulation, I was curious if the small forwards could redeem themselves if they were paired in a matchup with the centers in a live action game. So here I put them up in a head-to-head game, and LeBron carried the small forwards to an early lead. They never looked back, defeating the centers 39-32. Pretty straightforward win for them. So now that we have all this data, it is clear to me that the small forwards are actually the best position in the NBA. They have the perfect balance of shooting, speed, defense, height, and pretty much every relevant attribute in basketball. The small forwards had the best record in the season simulation. They nearly swept everyone in those playoffs. They fell short in the tournament game, yes, but they redeemed themselves with a strong victory over the centers in a head-to-head game. But if you disagree with the results, please let me know in the comments below which position you think is the best, and let me know how stupid I am and how I probably mispronounce everybody's name in this video. My apologies, I don't watch that much basketball. But anyways, I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. You're all legends in my book, and as for me, I am Drew Morris, big old Drewski, not the expert, and I'll see all you guys in my next video. Peace.
Thank you to Patreon supporters Christian Tang, Jack Webb, Matt Woodruff, Anthony Uhas, Alex Mohar, Timbo Slice, Rosalie Jarecki, Devondre Hunter Martin, and Casey Knox.